So good evening, everybody. I am Carol Watson, and my business is Transformational Coaching with Dr. Carol. So not only am I a successful direct sales leader and trainer, but I also have my own business now doing life coaching and nutrition coaching too. I absolutely love what I do. I pinch myself every day because I feel so blessed to get to do what it is that I do. And I am very honored to share with you today a little bit of my journey and how I learned how to attract people to me based on who I am versus what I want. I want to start a little bit starting out with my story, because my story involves really being someone who came from a place of unworthiness. I was a very insecure middle child. I think I spent most of my life until well into my 40s just seeking other people's approval. I was very much performance oriented and wanted to be accepted by others. And I found it kind of interesting that God would choose someone like me to make a difference in the world of nutrition and now business as well, given my past, which I'm not going to go into that entire story, but please trust me when I tell you that never in a million years would you have been able to pay me enough money to talk in front of people or to do what I'm doing now, traveling all over the country, inspiring and training other people how to not only live a healthier life, but how to step into their greatness and become all they were created to be. So I applaud all of you who have joined us here, who have a desire to make a difference in your respective business with the products and services that you offer. The journey is not necessarily easy, but it is usually worth it because we are bringing value to the world. And I believe that God does have a sense of humor. He has chosen to use me to accomplish the impossible. And that is to really step into this reality. And what I want to start out by sharing with you all is that we don't really attract what we want. We attract what we are. Don't you think that's true? I don't know if you've ever thought about that. But most of the time we want really happy, motivated, responsible customers or even team members. But is that what we are? That's the question that James Allen poses in his book, As a Man Thinketh. So how many times have you ever attended a networking event where you were invited to bring your business cards, to meet other people, to share about your products and services, and you come to the event loaded with your business cards, you make some introductions, you have a little bit of chit chat, you pass out your business cards, you receive a purse full of business cards or a pocket full, only to come home and realize that you really either, number one, spent most of the time talking about yourself and never really showed interest in other people, or number two, it was just chit chat. You never even got around to your products or services. So you tossed out the business cards you received, and guess what? The people on the other end tossed your card out too. So it really wasn't a successful opportunity to network, if you will. So what I'm going to invite you to is to go to work on yourself, so that you can attract what it is you want based on how you are being or how you are coming across in interactions with other people. Now, multiple years ago, I've been with my company for over 16 years now. And about 2 years into that, I made a decision that I absolutely am going to do today what most people won't do, so that I can be, do, have, experience, and help tomorrow what, quite frankly, most people just sit around dreaming about or wishing. You know, I kind of embrace that mindset that if it's to be, it's up to me, right? So if things for you to change, in order for your world to change, your business to change, your relationships, your finances, even your health, if it's to be, it's up to you. Got to go to work on ourselves. So how could it be that someone like me, that I described as very insecure, coming from unworthiness, just really lots of issues, just trust me, lots of issues, not only did I get a double doctorate as a doctor of naturopathy and a counselor of natural health, but also this business owner now for 14 some years, 16 some years. I reached the top position in 3 years. I have an international sales force of 1,200 plus people doing business in 8 countries and serving thousands of customers. And as I mentioned, I also now have this secondary income stream with transformational coaching with Dr. Carol to help me fuel and provide the income to pursue some additional dreams that I have of making a difference for HIV orphans. That's part of my why. That's part of why I do what I do. But how is it that I could accomplish such things? There's nothing special about me. Nothing more, I shouldn't say that. There is something special about me. There's something special about you too, but there's nothing more special about me than there is about you. And I believe what made the difference is that I was willing to realize that in order for my business to grow, I needed to grow. And it started with investing in myself. So I've got a little quiz for you, if you will. So hopefully you have a pencil and a piece of paper in front of you, because what I've discovered based on John Maxwell's The Law of Magnetism is that most of us don't even know what we're looking for when it comes to a customer or a teammate in our business. So what qualities do you consider important? What are you wanting to attract to you? In other words, what would be your ideal customer? Or who would be your ideal teammate? So I want you to start writing down a few attributes or qualities or characteristics of what you would consider that ideal customer or teammate. And there is somebody who has some background noise that if you can mute yourself, I muted everyone, but it's probably somebody who came in late. We do hear somebody moving around a lot. Okay, thank you so much. So what would that perfect profile be for you? It might be someone that's responsible. It might be somebody that's motivated. It might be somebody that's a hard worker. It might be somebody who has one of their values is family first. So what would those look like for you? Because at the end of the day, what is going to determine whether the people you want are the people you attract? It is completely determined by who you are. So this process, y'all, is about you. Most of the time we're wanting to go to work on other people and fix them. It's like, oh, they just don't understand. Well, maybe there is something in you that you need to go to work on. So let's look at this. So on your list, what I want you to do is whatever you have there, put a check mark by any of those attributes that you wrote on your list that you feel like on a scale of 1 to 10, you're there. I've got this one. Like on mine, for example, a positive attitude. I know I've got a positive attitude. If that's something you're wanting to attract, but you don't have a positive attitude, then you would want to put an X by that. So in each one of those places, put either a check mark or an X. The checks are, got that covered. The X's are, here's my opportunity to go to work on myself. If, for example, if I want to attract someone who is a hard worker or is committed, then I need to be that way myself. Jim Rohn also says that to attract attractive people, you've got to be attractive. To attract powerful people, you must be powerful. To attract committed people, you got to be committed. So instead of going to work on them, go to work on yourself, because this is so true. This is my experience. I mean, I cannot emphasize enough how much I needed to go to work on myself in order to get to where I am. If you become whatever that is that you want, then you can attract that based on the law of attraction. So what do you see when you look in the mirror? Are you seeing a rock star in front of you? Are you seeing a confident, charismatic, man or woman who knows where they're going. You know what you want in life. You know that you're set out to make a difference in the world. You know what your goals and dreams are, and you're looking for people to come on along with you. You've got to be your best cheerleader. You've got to believe in yourself more than you believe in any of the products or services you have to offer. Because at the end of the day, you can have the most amazing company, the most amazing products, the most amazing sponsor. But if you don't believe in yourself, then you're not going to attract or grow a customer base or a team base. So you got to know to be there for yourself. This is what the law of attraction is based on. When you look at yourself and you feel dissatisfied about any part of you, you will continue to attract feelings of dissatisfaction or whatever that feeling is that you have. Because this law mirrors back to you exactly what you are holding inside of you. So an example, if I am feeling like my products or services are expensive, and I'm talking to someone about what it is that I have to offer, and I'm coming from that place, whether I'm verbalizing it or not, it's going to come across to the other person as your products are too expensive. I have seen this time and time again. I have never from day one felt like my particular products were expensive, because I was spending a whole lot more money on a juicing program than I would be on taking a concentrated fruit and vegetable capsule. To me, I was like, I'm going to be saving money. So my mindset was never that my product was expensive. And guess what? In 16 and a half years, I've had a few people think that my products were too expensive, but by and far, that rarely comes up for me, because I'm coming from a place of I have something of value. I have something that's making a difference. I am worthy of investing in myself. Therefore, it's not expensive because I'm worth it and it just made sense to me. So if it makes sense to me, it's going to make sense to the person I'm talking to. So hopefully that makes sense to you. This is my mindset. You are what you think. That's a picture of me for those of you who have never seen me. That was a couple years ago. My hair was a little longer. But you truly are what you think. So what do you think about yourself? What mindset, what perspective, what belief are you coming from? I would invite you all to be in awe and wonder at the magnificence of you. And I promise you, 16 years ago, there is no way I could have been saying this to you, because first of all, I didn't think I was that wonderful or magnificent, much less being in awe of myself. And I say that with all humility, because it truly is, it's like mind-boggling to me knowing where I've come from to get to this place of being in awe and magnificence of the amazing human being that God created me to be on this planet. And in order for me to make a bigger difference in the world, I really had to face that reality that if it was to be, it was up to me. So that's my invitation to you. Now, moving forward into the actual tips, because some of you are like, well, I thought we were going to get some tips on how to, be a better network marketer or direct sales or attract people to our business. So we're going to get into some actual tips, but I really wanted to set the stage that I can give you all of the best tips in the world. But if you don't believe in yourself, and if you are not aware of this law of attraction, that the energy, what the belief, the mindset that you are putting out to the people in front of you, that that's what you're going to attract to you, then you're going to miss the mark. So I laid that foundation. So I want to go on into the tips now. So tip number 1 is to have a strong personal foundation. Now, what I mean by that, we talk about people that have balance in their lives, but we're not talking about a perfectly balanced life. What I'm talking about is let's look at the opposite of that. The opposite would be, are you someone who comes across as chaotic, dramatic, stressed, overwhelmed, always in a hurry, can't seem to stay on top of things, missing your commitments, you're late for things? Now, are you the kind of person that I would want to do business with? Probably not. But if you are someone who I notice a special passion or energy or enthusiasm or balance to some degree in your life, now that's somebody I would consider doing business with or developing a relationship with. So that is tip number one. Have a strong personal foundation. The second one is, and this to me is like so absolutely huge, people love to talk about whom? Themselves. So we want to focus all of our attention on the other person. And how do we do that? We ask questions. We ask curious questions. We want to know about their problems, their challenges, their fears, their frustrations, their passions. And if this is not something you're familiar with, the next time you're even at a social event or a family outing for that matter, practice this. I've invited my team. We practice on this using the acronym FORM. F is for family. Just ask them questions about their family. Are you married? Do you have children? Anything family related. What does your husband do for a living? And that takes you into occupation. That's what the O is. So if you ask somebody what they do for a living and they tell you, don't let that be the end of the question. Another question could be, well, what do you like most about what you do? Or what do you like least about what you do? Because if they tell me, for example, I don't know, the thing I like least about my job is living where we do here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area is my commute in traffic going to work every day. That's one of the things I like the least about my job. Right there is ammunition, if you will, for when you get around to talking about your company and your business and having someone partner with you as a teammate in your direct sales business. Oh, you remember, Sally, how you were talking about how you didn't like that long commute you had every day to work? Well, I don't know if this would be of interest to you or not, but I've started something new and I'm just having so much fun and I don't have to sit in traffic anymore and I get to do what I love to do from home. Would that be of any interest to you? I'd love to have a conversation with you. So kind of keeping in your mind, if you will, the answers that you're getting to these questions so that when it comes around to your turn to talk, you can bring that back into the conversation. And then the R is for recreation. What do people love to do for fun? Or the opposite of that, if you ask a question, I can't tell you how many people I have asked, so what do you do for fun, Mary? You know what the sad answer is? I don't have much fun in my life. So once again, down the road, well, Mary, you know how you're talking about you don't have much fun in your life? I am having the time of my life doing this new thing with my company. I don't know if it'd be of interest to you, blah, 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 the whole thing. And then the M would be for money or motivation. What motivates them? What gets them excited? Is money important to them? You can use that in your conversation later as well. The bottom line, y'all, is to just dig into their inner world where most people don't show that type of attention and ask those kinds of questions. The third one, so we're asking the questions, what do we need to do? We need to listen without, and this is the trick, the key, without thinking of what question you're going to ask next. We've got to detach from our agenda. Don't think about selling them a thing, because when you detach from that, then you can truly come from a place of your heart and people will feel that. They will connect with that. They will feel that you are being genuine in your interest and not trying to lead them down the path of selling them something. The highest form of listening is empathetic. And I don't know if y'all are familiar with the feel, felt, found, but that is a great way to connect with someone. If they're, frustrated with their job, I understand how you feel, John. I used to feel the same way. And what I found now and what I'm doing is I don't have to be stuck in that job anymore. I was able to quit my job and work full time, pursuing my dreams, whatever that is for you. So listen, listen, listen. Because this is so true, right? A man convinced against his will is what? Of the same opinion still. I just want to share a quick story with you about this because it's so funny. My father was a farmer, and he he told me, shared this with me like a long time ago when I was young. We had cattle and we showed cattle in 4-H. And the way that you would get a cow into the trailer is almost counterintuitive, because what most people do is they stand in front of the trailer and they pull the cow, trying to get the cow to lead them up into the trailer, right? That's the way you would think that you would do it. But really the opposite is true. If you turn that around and stick the cow's rear end to the facing the trailer, and you're the opposite end, pulling them the opposite of the trailer, they're going to back themselves right into that trailer. They're resisting you. It's not their idea to go into that trailer if you're tugging. Well, people are the same way. When you're meeting resistance with people, we're getting into that convincing mode. And I have learned that if I feel like I'm selling something, that's when I get into, when I'm in convincing. If I'm sharing an opportunity, an idea, a product, a service, something along those lines, I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. I'm just sharing. But if I get into convincing mode, that's the very second that I go into selling. And nobody likes to be sold. How many salespeople have you hung up on the telephone with, right? So think about that one. The next one is having a specialized knowledge. In other words, if you are someone who is known, like in my example, I'll give you an example of me. I'm known as the nutrition expert. So people come to me for nutrition advice. Maybe you're a really good techie guru, you know, good on the computer. You're the go-to person for that. Maybe you're the person that's really good at art or creating flyers, or you have good social skills and people are coming to you to connect and to create an event. Whatever that is, have a reason for people to come to you, and that's going to help develop the relationship as well. All they need to know is that you have that special skill, whatever it is that you're good at. And if you don't have one, then maybe you could get good at something that would be of value and service to others. The next one is acknowledging people. Pay people sincere compliments and acknowledge those compliments. And what I mean by that is you don't want to just, my example here is your new furniture looks really nice. I mean, it's great to walk into somebody's house, they have new furniture, and for you to give that compliment, your new furniture looks nice. But acknowledging the compliment takes it up a notch, if you will. And you add on to that, you have such a natural ability for decorating and coordinating a room. Another example, a friend of yours gets a haircut. You know, Sue, your new haircut really looks nice. How can you acknowledge that compliment? Sue, your haircut really looks nice. It really complements your facial features. It even makes you look younger. Now, obviously, don't make that up if that's not true, but that's what I mean by acknowledging a compliment and not just tossing compliments out. The next one is find something in common with the person. That's going to be your place of connection. So if you're a mom, they're a mom, there's a connection right there. You've got, you know, kids in grade school, kindergarten, high school, college, wherever they're at, that could potentially be a connection. Your spouses might work together. You might have a common interest in, I don't know, certain music that you listen to. Find something in common because that will help strengthen that bond as well. This is a really important one. The next one is to talk about your success stories. Don't talk about you and all of your successes. Talk about how you have helped other people. And you want to describe this in detail, almost to the point where you feel like you're bragging, because it won't really come across that way, because what people are really looking for is making it all about them. I don't know if you're familiar with the radio station WIIFM, but most people tune into it right away. It's called What's in It for Me. And if you make it all about them, then they're more likely to listen. So instead of, you know, touting your successes, you can say, you know, I have a friend, Mary, who was really at a place of almost financial ruin. They were getting ready to declare bankruptcy, or their home was getting ready to be taken back to the bank because they couldn't keep up with their mortgage payments. And as a result of saying yes and partnering with me on this mission that we're on, you know, with my business, it's Inspiring Healthy Living, she was able to start out within a very few amount of months, within 2 or 3 months, to make $500 a month. And that's what made the difference for them being able to keep their house. Now, your friend might not be on the verge of bankruptcy, but talking with someone, helping them create $500 a month within 2 or 3 months, if that is realistic for your business, don't you think you might have their attention? That's what I'm talking about when you're talking about other people's success that you have helped. The next one is to offer to be an information resource. And what I mean by this is, let's say you meet at a networking event or out and about. You meet a realtor and you come across an article on property values in your area. Pop it in the email or pop it in the snippet if it's in a magazine, cut it out, pop it in the mail. Hey, Joe, I was thinking about you, thought this might be of interest to you. Somebody is, I don't know, in computer worlds, and you come across an article on, you know, social media and what's going on in social media. You pop it over to them, you know, hey, you know, I met you at such and such. I don't know if you remember me or not, but I kept your business card. I saw this. I thought of you, whatever that is, send it to them. They're going to appreciate hearing from you when you're not just following up with them to sell them something. And by the way, ask them at the same time, so Joe, who would be a good referral for you? I mean, seriously, when is the last time a person you met who knows you're in direct sales with Norwex has asked you, you know, who would be a good referral for you? I mean, seriously, if someone asked me that, I'd be looking to find referrals for them and probably want to do business with them myself. So that's a really good one too. And speaking of which, send them referrals. You know, like with Amy. Amy did a party for me. I was so excited about what I found. I started sending referrals to her. I shared my experience on social media, and I was able to hook them up with you guys' amazing products and services. You know, I'm not a rep, but I can be a mouthpiece for what you are doing. You get a happy, raving customer, and you empower them. In my case, I already knew how to do it because that's what I do for a living. But help your customers even with how to share what you're doing on social media to provide some more referrals for you. Send them referrals, and they will more likely give you referrals. And the last one, and this is so very important, Earl Nightingale says, if you want to be successful, treat every person you come into contact with as the most important person on earth. Give that gift of attention. It's the greatest gift that you can give people. Now, I've shared with you, based on the laws of attraction, your mindset, the thoughts you're thinking, they're creating the experiences you're having. Now, I've given you 10 practical tips on how to attract people to your product, services, or business so you have a customer. Why do customers quit? I think this is important to put this in here because at the end of the day, it comes back to you again. So first of all, 1% of them die. Okay, only 1% of them die. So there's a good reason to quit. The next one is 3% of them move. They've moved to another place. 5% is different friendships. 9%, maybe they found something at a better price, or maybe they're happy with their services a little better. 14% dissatisfied. But here's the biggie. 68% quit because of an attitude of indifference by some employee, namely maybe you. So y'all, customer service is not a department that you go to in a store. It begins and it ends with your attitude. You have the opportunity to provide the best customer or team members, because hopefully you all are in the team building mode and want to accrue team because you're in direct sales as well. It all begins and ends with your attitude. You can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you. You know, I tell my team, and I would empower you with this thought as well, what holds a lot of new representatives back is they feel like they don't know enough. In your case, you have an amazing leader with Amy. She's an expert in what she does. She's created videos on how-tos and all this stuff, and you might be sitting there thinking, I'll never know all that stuff like Amy does. Well, I got news for you. You don't have to. You show interest in other people, and they will be interested in what you have to offer and what you have to say. But if you come across as the expert know-it-all, just talking about yourself and what you have to offer other people, they'll most likely tune you out, right? If you have not read Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People, I encourage you to do that. He gives 6 ways to make people like you. And they are so practical. They are so foundational. They are so simple, yet most of us overlook them. We've pretty much talked about all of them. I just created this one slide with an overview of those 6 points for you. We talked about showing interest in other people. Smile. You know that expression, smile and the world smiles back? I am not attracted to someone who is not smiling. I'll just be honest. If you're smiling though, I feel that energy coming from you. I'm going to beeline for you versus somebody who's looking at the floor. Use a person's name. Remember those names. Use it often in the sentence. A good technique, if you will, for remembering people's names is as soon as you're introduced, use their name like right away. Somebody introduces you to Fred. Fred, it's so nice to meet you. You know, I have an uncle that was Uncle Fred. Right there, you've got something in common as well, but you use his name 2 or 3 times and you're more likely to remember it. And isn't it true when you hear your name, you look up and you immediately have the person's attention? So use the person's name, be a good listener. We talked about that. Talk in terms of the other person's interest. I'll tell you what Dale Carnegie shared in his book is whenever he was having a meeting with a new person, he would spend time like sometimes late into the way, like early morning hours, knowing he was meeting with the person the next day because he had such a full calendar. But he cared enough about that person to stay up after midnight searching to find out something about that person so that he could have a common denominator. I mean, if I were to meet you, one of you, outside of Amy for the first time, and the very first thing you said to me was, hey, Dr. Carol, I was looking at your website and I just think it's so cool how you have such a passion to help other people with nutrition. I mean, I would be so blown away that you took the time to do something like that. So here's a lesson for you. Next time you get a business card from someone, look up their website, spend a little time getting to know a little bit about what their interests are, what their products and services are, so that when you do have a follow-up conversation with them, you know, Debbie, I was looking at your website and I think it is so amazing how you are offering the most calming, soothing, warm massages or whatever it is that the person does. And the last thing is to make the other person feel important. And of course, we want to do that sincerely. And we talked about that too. So here's your test. And I invite you all to do this. And Amy, I invite you to follow up with your team on this because I think this is a true test of your skills. And by the way, you'll probably fail the first 2 or 3 times, maybe more. I certainly did. The test is to invite someone out for, the food has to be involved. It can't just be coffee, so because somebody has to be eating, okay? So invite them out for lunch, a sandwich, you know, coffee and a cookie, whatever. And this is the question. Whose plate will be empty at the end of the conversation, or hopefully by the end of the conversation and not before? Would it be your plate or would it be the person that you're with plate? The answer is, of course, your plate is going to be the empty plate. They should still have food on their plate. And why is that? because they're doing all the talking, not you. Most of us tend to do most of the talking, right? So if you are showing interest, asking questions, using the FORM acronym, what's important to them, what are their passions, what do they like most about what they do, what's their family, what are some challenges you're having. You know, when it comes to Norwex, you can ask questions about the household, how they spend money on products, how many rags they've thrown out, how much money they've wasted. You know, is environment important to them? Are toxins and chemicals important to them? Questions that you can be asking. They'll still have their food on their plate. I have to admit, I didn't realize this test. And once I became aware of it and was doing a self-assessment on myself, I was like, oh my gosh, that person is sitting there with the empty plate and my food was never even touched. So that's a good quiz for you to pursue, because you want the other person to still have the food there. And finally, another book that has really helped me a lot. Not going to spend a lot of time on it, just want to introduce it to you. It's called The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. These 4 agreements have literally saved my life, transformed my business, relationships, everything. They're very simple, once again, but to summarize it for you, we all make agreements with ourselves that we are totally not even conscious of. We have expectations of ourselves and of others. And when others disappoint us or don't meet those expectations, that's where chaos and drama occur. So if you want peace and joy in your life, I invite you to read the 4 agreements and learn a little more about how not to take things personally, not to make assumptions. And at the end of the day, just do your personal best, and your relationships will definitely improve. It's a fascinating read. It's a little short book. It won't take that long. It's in my list of top 5 along with Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. So in summary, the only permanent constructive changes that you can make in the world are the changes that you make in yourself. I told you at the beginning, this is all about you. You know, we talk about it, it's kind of almost an oxymoron, because we talk about investing time and showing interest and making it all about the other person. But when it comes down to it, if we're not investing in ourselves and making those changes in ourselves, it's going to be a little bit of a challenge to show genuine interest in other people because of our own insecurities and hangups as well. So my question to you is, has the time come for you to make that difference that you say that you want to make? Because I believe some of you are probably doing what you're doing because you believe very strongly that the chemicals and the toxins in the solutions that most of us have in our households are contributing to poor health in America, starting with our own families. I believe you want to make a difference for others. You might also want to make a difference for your own family finances. You want to create that extra $500, $1,000, $5,000 a month and on up. You know, when I decided that it was time for me to step up to the plate, take ownership, and stop blaming the economy, the president, my husband, the president of my company, my upline, my downline, my customers, when I took responsibility, that's when things really started changing for me. Because when it came down to it, I truly believe that I was called to do what I am doing in sharing nutrition, this potentially life-saving information with other people. And I believe that the time has come for you too. So it's time to go to work on you. Why do I do what I do? Because I believe in investing in our children as well. They are our future. And I see what's going on in America. And I know a lot of you gals on the phone, I think I only saw women, there might be some men, but if you don't have children, you've got nieces, nephews, or you know a child, okay? I don't have children. These are my nieces, nephews, and great nieces and great nephews. They're a big part of the reason why I'm doing what I do. I invest in me. I spend money on myself for personal growth. I attend seminars. I read books. I take care of my health. I mean, so much of what I do in investing in me is to make me a better version of me so that I can better serve them and the world, starting with my family. My other big why, And I share these with you in hopes that you all know why you're doing what you're doing, because at the end of the day, it makes a huge difference. Like, why do you get up out of bed every day to share your products and services? For me, it's to create income to help fuel dreams that I have of sponsoring HIV orphans in Thailand. And the bigger our business grows, the more children we're able to sponsor. Right now, we're sponsoring 9 HIV children, children that nobody wanted. So for me, that's huge because, again, I don't have children. So these are like my children. And I'm very blessed to be able to get paid really well to do what I love to do, and that is help other people and now pay it forward in ways that I believe God has laid on my heart. So I want to end with this quote here called, that Eleanor Roosevelt is known for saying, "The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams." If you don't have any dreams, then why would you want to go to work on yourself in the first place? So that might be something, if you're like me, I didn't have any dreams. First of all, I didn't think I was worthy of having a dream, much less the ability to pursue it and to make that dream become a reality. But I started dreaming small, set small goals, and with every accomplished goal, I was able to set a little bit bigger goal and a little bit bigger dream. I mean, I promise you, the day I signed my application to become a representative with my company, I had not set my sights on reaching the top position in this company. What I did set my sights on was making a difference for other people in the area of health and wealth. And I very quickly realized that in order for my business to grow, I needed to grow because I didn't have the skill set nor the mindset to get from where I was to where I wanted to be. So my invitation to you is, you have the ruby slippers on right now. You have everything you need to create the life of your dreams. The question is, do you realize it? Do you realize that that potential is even there? Step into those ruby slippers. Dream big, expect to succeed, and I'm here to tell you that dreams really do come true. So thank you, Amy, for the opportunity to share. That concludes my training. Let me unmute everybody. Let's see. Where's that little feature? Sorry, I'm trying to find it. Manage participants. Unmute all. Okay, so I think you're unmuted.
Thank you, Carol.
Yeah.
That was wonderful.
I want to stop.